Welcome back to Africa54. Vincent McCory in Washington. Now, the Trump administration rolled out a new U.S.-Africa strategy in December, increasing efforts to counter Russian and Chinese influence while shifting focus away from counterterrorism. Ahead of the policy for a rollout, administration officials and analysts briefed lawmakers on some of those changes and how they will fit into ongoing U.S. development efforts. VOA's congressional correspondent Catherine Gibson has more from Capitol Hill.
The stakes of U.S. involvement with African partners appear clear.
We know what happens when the U.S. fails to engage. We know who fills that void. It is China and Russia.
White House National Security Advisor John Bolton expected to announce strategy countering those countries on the African continent. On Capitol Hill, U.S. lawmakers focused on Chinese influence.
China is building itself an image as a contributor to peace and stability in Africa, boosting its image as a responsible stakeholder while materializing, legitimizing, and expanding its own military presence on the continent.
One analyst telling lawmakers what he hopes to see in the new strategy.
Thinking more broadly about the tools to counter China, and particularly working with the Africans, not talking down to them, but to leveraging their own concerns about Chinese debt or Chinese malign activities and finding partners globally. I think that we can't do this alone, and we're not the only country or the only member in the global community that's worried about China and Africa.
Along with continued U.S. counterterrorism efforts, State Department officials also called for increased economic ties.
We would like to start with one sub-Saharan country to explore a model free trade agreement.
Some Democratic lawmakers questioning whether President Donald Trump's alleged use of a degrading term for some African countries has impacted diplomacy.
I have never had a problem getting off the plane because I engage and talk about the wonderful things that America as a whole is doing, and also talk about Africa as one of the leading nonpartisan issues of our day.
The U.S. foreign aid budget to Africa has also experienced significant cuts, a move Democrats said sends the wrong message.
How do you explain the fact that the administration you represent cut their budget 37% last year and another 33% this year?
We are laser focused on ensuring that taxpayer investments on the African continent are deployed in the most efficient and effective manner and to the benefit of the American people and the African people as well.
The outlook is hopeful. Retiring Congressman Ed Royce said in his final moments as House Foreign Affairs Committee chairman.
There is strong bipartisan support for well-resourced, broad engagement in Africa.
A sign the president's new strategy could be a rare area of agreement in Washington. Catherine Gibson, VOA News, Capitol Hill.
The Nigerian Navy is reaching out to residents of underserved communities in order to give them a sense of belonging. During a medical rhapsody at Tungeti Island, a community on the border with the Republic of Benin, officers and men of the Western Naval Command of the force provided free medical services to various groups of people.
Officers and men of the Nigerian Navy, led by the flag officer commanding the Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Havila Ngalabak, embark on a boat ride to Tungeti Island. Covering about 30,800 square nautical miles, the island extends from the boundary with the Central Naval Command in Ondo State to the border with the Republic of Benin. The arrival for a medical outreach is warmly greeted by the people of Tungeti Island. Far away from the mainland, access to social services such as healthcare and education is difficult. The existence of a naval outpost here also informed the choice of the destination.
This is a medical rhapsody for Tungeti Island from officers and personnel of Western Naval Command, Nigerian Navy. The purpose of the rhapsody is to give the people of the island a sense of belonging, that Nigerian Navy and Nigeria in general cares for them, because they are far removed from the mainland, and to come here, it took us about 3 hours by boat just to enter here. And they are far detached. They are feeling as if they are neglected. Many understand that they are Nigerians and they are our family, and they belong to Nigeria. So we believe this will put a smile on their faces and also draw them closer to Nigeria.
The outreach begins with security personnel carrying out medical consultation, eye and dental checks, laboratory investigations, and administering of drugs. The Nigerian Navy says reaching out to such far-flung communities is a policy direction and aimed at social inclusion.
We have built a primary school in this place, which is ongoing. We also brought a generator here, which is also being still serviceable. The bridge, or rather the jetty in this place, in this island, which connects the island to the waters, it was actually built by a naval officer.
In addition to impacting residents of the island, the force is also deploying personnel to combat crimes such as pipeline vandalism.
It's time now for a short break, and we'd like to remind you to visit our websites for news and programming around the clock. You can also find us at youtube.com/channelsweb. Still to come, meet the Ugandan entrepreneur peddling bamboo bikes. It's a cheaper alternative and promotes ecotourism. That story after the break.